the Sewing Pastor's wife, and this is Friday Sews. And I'm so happy to be back with you after not sewing for like a month. It's so good to be back. I'll tell you all about where I've been and what I've been doing in the life portion, but let's talk about, first of all, that Friday Sews is the best thing from Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room. She created this community of people who create and watch videos that sewists are sharing about what they have been working on in their sewing room, what they want to work on, and a little bit about life. And I love it so much. And whether you are a creator or just a spectator, I appreciate you so much. And I'm so thankful for this amazing community of sewists because it's really been such an encouraging place and such a motivator to help me keep sewing, even though I haven't sewed for a month. But I have reasons. I have good reasons. But y'all have kind of been there in the back of my head. I've thought about you a lot, and so I haven't even been able to watch videos or anything. So I'm so excited about getting caught up. But anyway, so today or not today, but this week I finally got a little bit of sewing in. So I want to share that with you and talk about what I'm hoping to do. But the first thing I made, the only thing I have made since the last time I saw you is this, which I started it this week and I finished it this morning. So back in 2021, our grandkids came for the summer. They live in Orlando, where I'm from. And so our grandkids came for the summer and I took them home. And while I was down there, I went to the sewing studio. And if you are familiar with the sewing studio in Maitland, Florida, then you know what an amazing place it is. It is just so much fabric. It's wonderful. So I went there and I was determined I was going to buy something when I went. And I came home with this. Whoops, is that backwards? I feel like it's really hard to tell. Okay. So I bought this gorgeous, don't know what the fabric is. It's real soft and flowy and whatever, but I knew what I was going to make with it because when I first started sewing back in 2020, when I first started sewing again back in 2020, I would make, they were called kimonos then, but that's actually not politically correct to say anymore, but they're not really cardigans. They're not, I don't know what to call them. So for this video, I will just use that word kimono because that's what they called them. But anyway, and that's actually what the pattern name is for this. But anyway, I made some of those. They weren't great. The ones I made some from like DIY DIY instructions. And so it wasn't that the instructions weren't good. It was that this girl did not know what she was doing. But anyway, and not to say that I totally know what I'm doing now. But anyway, I knew that's what I wanted to make out of this. So I bought Butterick 6176 a long time ago, and I think that Carol from Sew Carol talked about this pattern too, and it made me remember that I had this fabric and that I wanted to make one. So I made one out of this. Isn't it so pretty? I love it. I think it's perfect for fall. Here in Tennessee, it's still pretty warm, and like you can see through this fabric, but I feel like it's a good fall looking fabric. So I'm gonna go ahead and post a picture right here of me wearing it. I love it. Don't you love that so much? I cannot wait to wear it to church on Sunday, and I made it in the right size for me. Good job, buddy. I made it in a large, and I love it. What I don't love is that it wrinkles really easily, but it's worth it. So I have to find my, that spray that I can't remember the name of right now because I couldn't find it this morning, to spray that it's like a starch, but it doesn't leave stuff. I will put a link in the description when I remember what it is. So that's what I made. And then I forgot to bring this with me. I'm up here at my office at the church because my husband's home for the day and it's his day off, and it was just quieter up here. Plus I'm still working. I'm still working on a project. So I made that, and I ripped out some stitches from the last laundry day tee I made because it was too huge. It was huge before I lost weight, and it was definitely too huge since I've lost weight. So I started ripping out the seams because my hope is to take it all apart and to recut it out with a smaller pattern size and see if that works. But it is taking forever. to rip out all those seams. So anyway, I didn't bring it with me. I forgot. So that's all I've sewed in the last month. Sad now. I keep looking at my sewing machine when I walk by and I'm like, oh, I miss you. But I was able to get some sewing in yesterday. It felt so good. So usually I talk about what I've made and what I bought because I've almost always bought something. So I do have a couple of things to share that I bought. I think I bought some patterns online too. I just can't remember because I forgot to look before I started this video. But we went to Columbus. That was the beginning of my not being able to sew time because I was out of town for 2 weeks straight. So we went to Columbus, Ohio for the Fine Arts Festival that my daughter performed in. I've talked about that before. We were here in Tennessee. She won the state for poetry and singing. And so we moved on to nationals. Huge, like 15,000 students there. It was so much fun. It was such a great week. But I'll talk about that in a minute. But while I was there, the first day I did a grocery pickup. And when I went to pick up the groceries, I was too early because I underestimated how much time it was. Anyway, I was early, whatever. So there was an Ollies there, and I love to go to Ollies. If you don't know what Ollies is, it's like a store that has random things in it, like new things. Like it's like Big Lots. I don't know what else to compare it to, but they always have books. That's really the reason I go. That's all I usually look at there is books. They have discounted books. They have a lot of Christian books there, Bibles and stuff, and cookbooks, and they have craft books sometimes. And so this is what I picked up. I cannot wait to get into this, but let's see, I hope it's showing, but this is Martha Stewart's Encyclopedia of Sewing and Fabric Crafts. It has 150 inspired projects in here, and I'm here to tell you for $6.99, I got my money's worth. She has some really cute projects in here, some really handy things, like it's literally from A to Z. Like it starts with animals, and there's animal things. It's like sewing, embroidery, quilting, dyeing, painting. There's all sorts of things in here. Anyway, I'm real excited to try some of this stuff in here. So I bought that while I was waiting for my grocery pickup, which incidentally turned out not to be at that Walmart that I was at. They didn't bring I checked in, they did not bring my stuff. They did not bring my stuff. I was trying to be so nice. So I called them and I was like, hi, I don't know if I did something wrong when I checked in, but I'm just waiting for my groceries. And they were like, we don't have an order for your name. And I was like, okay, thank you. And it was the wrong Walmart the whole time. Sat there for 30 minutes. Real glad I didn't show myself. Not that I would show myself, but I'm really glad I didn't show myself because I was at the wrong Walmart. Ding dong. Okay, anyway, so while we were there in Columbus, one of the things that I wanted to do was go to the fabric store, so to speak. It's a local fabric store there. It's not technically in Columbus, but I can't remember the city that's in. It's just like right there. It's like, you know, you don't hardly know. You don't know when you move from Columbus into that next city. It's not Dublin. I don't think it's Dublin. I can't remember, but I'll link it. It was the most darling store. And so before I show you what I got, I'm gonna pop a video in here so you can see a little bit of a tour of the store. And don't judge me because I know I was doing when I was making this video, but they were very gracious and they didn't mind that I made it. Anyway, it's a cool store. So if you get the chance to go there, go. Here, okay, check it out. Okay, so wasn't that a great store? I mean, it's a pretty good size. Their prices were reasonable, and I loved it. So here's what I ended up getting. I just, it was overwhelming I was like so panicked. I wanted to get something. So I ended up with this beautiful French terry. I've never sewed with French terry before, but oh my goodness, it's just so pretty. I love this color. So I'm gonna make like a sweatshirt type thing out of this. I think I got 2 yards, and so I cannot wait. It's so pretty. They had a bunch of French terry, but that was my favorite color. I thought it was perfect for fall, right? Okay. The other thing I got was something I've been wanting for a while. I got these sewing labels. They say, thanks, I made it. Because that's what I always say when people say something about okay, I don't always say it because sometimes you just don't want to say it. I don't know. Is that hard for y'all to be like, oh, I made it? I mean, to my friends that know I sew, I kind of do that. But anyway, thanks, I made it. So these are super cute. I had to buy those. Anyway, the store's great. So go there. And they have so many sewing classes and other stuff. And I'm like, oh, I just want to live here. They have a lot of yarn and just everything. It's great. So that is what I got. I'm pretty sure I bought a pattern or two since I last saw you, but I can't remember because they were digital. Anyway, the other thing I did was, I think this was actually before I went to Columbus. I went to the library downtown Nashville. So we have a big main library, and they have a lot of older books, and I love to read. So you can find stuff there that you can't find at the branch libraries. So I went there, but I had to go check out the craft sewing area. And I got this book, Know Your Baby Lock, and it tells you so many interesting good things. It was made in 1990, as if you cannot tell from the way it looks. 1990, 33 years ago, year after I was married. But it's lessons and techniques. So it gives you a lesson about something like, let's see, tuck and roll, how to tuck and roll, whatever that is, because I don't actually know. But then they give you a little project, a tuck and roll tablecloth. So I think this is awesome. This is like a book I want to buy. I don't even know if you can still buy it because it's kind of old. But anyway, I might have to buy that because I haven't had a chance to use it, and I'm probably going to take it back to the library soon. So that is all my purchases and borrows from the library, and that's about it for that. Let me see where I'm at on my list because my iPad turned off. Okay. So I've talked about what I've worked on. Oh, let's talk about what I want to work on. So I'm still in the middle of a project that has a deadline that's coming up, and I'm not ready. So I will probably not be doing any sewing next week unless I just need a real break and decide to sit down and do some sewing. But I'm probably not going to sew next week. But what I do want to do next week is work on some plans for what I want to make for the fall, because I need new clothes. Whether I buy them from the store or make them, I need new clothes because I've been losing weight. I have lost almost 36 pounds now. I have lost 20 inches when you combine my, what is this measurement? My brain is completely shut down. Whatever this measurement is, full bust measurement, waist and hips. So those are the only measurements I'm using when I'm telling you I've lost 20 inches. It definitely affects the way your clothes fit. So I don't have a lot of clothes to wear. I'm desperately needing jeans. I'm not ready to make jeans yet. So anyway, I definitely need jeans because all my jeans look like, they're real baggy and they do not look good at all. So anyway, my plan is to think about what I want to make, what's realistic for me to be able to make for fall, starting with this French terry and the making like a sweatshirt. That's one of the things I want to do. I want to make some raglans, I'm sure. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week after I've made my plans. But that's what I'm going to do, is plan for some fall sewing. And I want to catch up on all the Friday Sews videos because y'all have not watched any Friday Sews videos and I have missed it terribly. But I knew that if I started, I wouldn't be able to stop. and I have this project, and by the time I'm done at night, I'm just like done. I don't want to think about anything. So I should have been watching Friday So's videos then, because that would have energized me. But anyway, whatever, I haven't been watching them. So that's my plan. Make a plan, and then watch Friday So's videos, which is kind of connected to the Friday So's question of the week that Jen gave us, which is, what are you sewing as we transition into fall? So like I said, I'm gonna make that sweater. I wanna make some raglans for football game. I wanna do one in our school's colors. You know, we have one high school in our town, so I wanna make one in our school colors so I can wear it to football games. And I don't know what else, so we'll come back to that. But that's the question. So what are y'all making as we transition into fall? Or if you are on the other side of the world, what are you making as you transition into spring? I guess I should ask that too. So about life, I just told y'all I went to Columbus for that Fine Arts Festival, and that was so much fun. So I live right now in the country. I live in a rural town, and I'm from Orlando, but I lived in the suburbs. But when we went to Columbus, and I didn't even want to go to Columbus. I had such a bad attitude about going. Well, it turns out I actually want to live in Columbus. Okay, maybe that might be dramatic, but I loved where we stayed. So we rented an Airbnb in the North Shore, why did I not look this stuff up? North Shore Arts District, North Arts District, one of those two. So there's a main road, goes right by the convention center where the festival was. And then right off of this road was where we stayed in this, I don't know what they call them in Columbus, but like a brownstone, a townhouse, whatever. It was an old building divided into little townhouses. And it had so much character. It was so cute. And the whole area was amazing where we stayed. I loved it because you could walk everywhere. They had restaurants and shops, and you just walked everywhere. I loved it. And we were able to walk to the convention center, which was, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of a mile down the road, back and forth every day. We had to walk to the arena for the nighttime services. That was like a mile. It was so safe. It was just the best. And I felt really bad about all the things I'd said about Columbus in my head, because actually it turned out I loved it. We had such a good time, but we were averaging like 15,000 steps a day while we were there. And so one day I stayed, they went to the convention center because my daughter had already performed. So I stayed home. And I walked the neighborhood because the neighborhood had so much character. The houses were so interesting to look at. The yards were beautiful. I just loved it. So anyway, I got into this habit of walking while we were there, and I've kept it up since we came back. That is something I definitely made time for since we've been back. So the week after we went to Columbus and did that, we went to Georgia on we took my daughter, we dropped her off at my mom's. She lives in Georgia. And then we drove to Verbo, a cabin that we rented for a writing/recording retreat, which is this deadline project that I'm working on. It's for discipleship in our church. And so we were writing content and then recording it for these discipleship videos we were making. So we rented this cabin to write and to record. And so we worked every day from about 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Because it turns out me and my husband making a video together was way more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Because I would just start cracking up for no reason whatsoever. I don't know, if he said something just slightly off, just set me off. But anyway, we worked from about 9 to 4, and then we drove it was near Helen. Actually, I think it was in Helen, but it was outside of Helen. If you know Helen, it's a very touristy destination in Georgia, and it's a little town that it's totally for tourists. And so we drove to Helen. They have this walking path that starts outside of Helen, and you walk through the woods on this path, and it drops you off in Helen, in downtown Helen. So we did that every day. We ended up walking like 4 miles every day, and it was so fun. But again, I was walking. I got into that habit of walking. Such a great habit. So when we came back, the weather here got super hot. and it was going to be hundreds in the hundreds. So I was like, oh no, I want to keep walking, but I'm not going to get out if the heat index is going to be 108. Not happening for me. So I joined the gym. My husband's been a member there for a while, and he goes every day. So I joined the gym, and I just so I could walk on the treadmill, because I have no interest in lifting weights. I have no interest in anything really but walking. So I've been walking on the treadmill. I've been getting at least 10,000 steps 6 days a week. I'm so proud of myself. This has never happened before. I am dressed right now in my workout clothes, so I can be done here. When I'm done, I can go walk. I don't know if I'm gonna walk outside because it's pretty nice today. Anyway, so walking, and walking. That's what I've been doing. And then I'm getting ready for this encounter that we're having. We have one for men, one for women, and it is the kickoff event for our discipleship program for the year. People that go to this, they're invited to become a part of D-Track, which is our discipleship track, which is what we've been recording and writing for. So I'm working on that, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait to go. I can't wait to see what God's going to do, but I'm also ready for it to be done so I can get into a more of a routine where I'm able to sew, able to do other stuff. So anyway, but I love it. So that's it. That's where my life is. That's about all that's been going on. So we'll see what this next week brings. But before we go, you just share about, I have been also getting up a little bit earlier so that I can spend some extra time in the Word and in prayer as I'm preparing to speak at this encounter, and we're preparing this material. And yesterday or the day before, the whole bulk of my reading kept pointing back to God being a refuge for us. And I love that promise so much, because we live in a world where there's constant not peace. Just even if it's just situations around us, work problems, family problems, there's just always stuff swirling around us. There's the emotional stress that we might be going through. There's all the busyness of life. But the Bible is so clear that God is a refuge for us when we are experiencing chaos, whether it's within or outside of us, based on our circumstances, whatever it is, that God is a refuge and our strength and a very present help in time of trouble. I love that promise so much. God is so good. He's so faithful, and he's so able, and he is true to his word. So I want to challenge you to look to God as your refuge this week. When things are getting chaotic, when things feel stressful, when you are not at peace, look to God to be your refuge. And if you are not at peace because you're walking in fear over the unknown, fear of decisions that you're having to make, fear of what might happen, all of these things, read Psalm 91 and let it get into your spirit. Let it get into your soul. Your soul needs to hear this. Your mind, your will, emotions, it needs to hear the truth about who God is and what he has for you. And what he has for you is a place of refuge, a place of peace, and a place where we can take a deep breath and relax and lean into him and let him be who he was meant to be in our lives. Anyway, that's all I have for you this week. So I am looking so forward to getting caught up on all your videos. I can't wait. And I'm looking forward to being with you guys next week. Even if I haven't actually sewn anything, I'm coming in to tell you what I have planned and watch all those videos. So, all right, y'all have a great week. Thanks for watching and thanks for commenting, and I will see you soon.